So again, you're listening to the Duncan Real Estate Show. We do have lines open. You can call us with your questions, 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas, and toll-free 1-800-969-9352. Dave, appreciate you being on the show with us this week. And Dave Watt is an agent on my team. And Dave, I wanted you to touch on something because, in this real estate market, ever changing, we're always trying to stay on the cutting edge and on the front end of education. And you went and got your CDPE, which means you're a certified distressed property expert in the real estate arena. And just wanted you to touch on what that means to the consumer really quickly.
Yeah, it was just basically, obviously being in the market all the time, seeing the opportunity to really help people. And the CDPE was, I think it came together about a couple of years ago. It's actually it's accredited by the National Association of Realtors, and it's basically a great platform for realtors to understand how they can initiate and help the homeowners today. It kind of really goes through from A to Z about understanding hardship and the whole path to help these people. So for me, it was a 2-day course that I did, and it was really it was 10 hours a day of going inside the short sale process and how it really works. And it really opened up my eyes and let me understand the process a lot more, so I could understand what I'm talking about.
And such a small percentage of realtors have their certified distressed property expert. And again, we always recommend clients be represented by an attorney, but the more education we can have as professionals to be able to help guide the client to the right professional for the right advice in the distressed property arena. And when we say distressed properties, we're talking about short sales specifically, and helping people get solutions and answers, and really kind of get a feel for what it is we can do to best help them. And it's something that on our team, Dave works with a lot of our clients that are in that situation, and then Sean at Yesner Boss, they work with us a lot as well. So Sean, I saw an article this week, and I was kind of curious your thoughts about it, about how much longer it takes for higher priced homes to foreclose. I thought it was kind of interesting because, again, a lot of times the higher priced properties that are above the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac threshold, sometimes portfolio loans, sometimes the people have more money to be able to fight off foreclosure. What do you think? What do you think causes a home that's maybe $1 million home to take 30 to 40% more time to foreclose?
Well, I think it's exactly what you said. Sometimes the homeowners are, not sometimes, but the homeowners tend to be more intelligent about the process, informed about the process. They're quicker to get an attorney or somebody else to help them out. Plus, I think it's a economic decision by the bank. The bank doesn't necessarily want to be stuck with a high-priced house at the end of the foreclosure, so the bank is going to take its time a little bit more to really research the situation.
And Jim, for people out there that are in this situation that maybe have the pricier homes that are kind of facing this thing, we get a lot of questions from people about 1099s. They're thinking about doing a short sale, but they're afraid of the 1099 damage because of one reason or another. Either they have assets that they're sheltering, or maybe they don't have any assets, and they think that they're still going to have to pay the IRS, a fortune of money that they may not have. What can you say about that?
Well, if it's your personal residence, Andy, the IRS allows you to exclude that income, that forgiveness of debt. So let's say you have a $1 million house with a $1 million mortgage, and they short sell it, the bank sells it for $700,000. You have a $300,000 amount that's called forgiveness of debt. So technically the IRS wants income tax on that $300,000 because technically you've been given $300,000. Right. So, but if it's your personal residence, a few years ago our Congress passed the law that says on a personal residence you will not have to pay tax on that. So you have to be real careful with, if it's rental property, if you have a second home or a third home, a vacation home, or a non-personal residence, there are rules regarding insolvency which will still allow you to not pay income tax on that cancellation of debt, but you need to speak with a professional and make sure you fall under those rules.
Yeah, especially with insolvency, because it's not something where you can just know for sure. There's a lot of variables that kind of come into play.
If I showed you the IRS publication on it, it's probably 100 or more pages, and the documentation to go through for an individual who's looking at this for the first time is it's voluminous.
Yeah, I think maybe that'd make a great story topic. We can just read the whole thing.
Oh, you don't want to put your
I don't
listeners
think anyone
to
would
sleep.
listen. Yeah. So again, if you've got questions, we'd love to help you. If you have a real estate question about buying or selling, we still got a little bit of time left in the show to answer them. 990-9352 in Hillsborough, 461-9352 in Pinellas. And
You know, Andrew, I just to go back to the 1099 issue real quick, I do believe that law sunsets in 2012.
so
It goes away unless Congress extends it.
right.
So short sales in 2012 and 2013 could have completely different tax
Ramifications.
consequences than
People,
today.
and that's something that, you know, our listeners that are proactive, that do get involved and talk to their congressmen and senators, make sure to tell them that we want to extend that. That's a concern. If that changes, you know, it's definitely a concern. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, the insolvency part, I believe, was always on the code. So I think what they added was the personal residence.
Right,
which
the
will
exemption,
change.
right. So that's something to keep in mind as you start to plan your situation, if you're in one of these situations, to think about, you know, and being proactive, talking to your congressman or senator. That would be something that would negatively impact our real estate market. So another quick article: the White House is announcing a mass refinancing plan being in discussion. You know, what it sounds like there's some discussion about doing is Christopher Meyer, an economist with the Columbia Business School, told the New York Times the White House is also considering other options to stimulate the housing market. What they're looking to do potentially is allow people that don't have equity to lower their interest rate to what the interest rates are prevailing at today. I don't know if it'll fly. I don't know if, you know, it's really just a really vague article that was in the New York Times a few days ago, but nonetheless, you know, there's at least some discussion on you know, in Washington about an idea of helping people get an idea for, you know, for reducing their mortgage rate, reducing their costs and everything. So again, we'll be back after a quick break to take a couple more calls before we wrap up on the show here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show on 970 WFLA.